Hello and welcome back to Rewritten. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Alex. And this week we're diving headfirst into something that is literally everywhere on social media and the media: Ozempic, diet culture, body image, injections, the lot. We're not experts, but as ever, we have opinions, don't we, Lise?
We do have opinions. You know what? It might be a good time actually to get a bit of a disclaimer on here. So everything that we say on Rewritten is just our humble opinion, isn't it, Alex?
Well, it's not humble. It's not humble. No,
it's just what am I holding onto my wall?
It's opinion which makes it fact.
I'm so scared today. I feel like I'm going on a scary ride. It's because my chair's wobbly. We're not doctors or trained professionals, and sometimes we do actually change our minds. We can think one thing one time.
We absolutely would do a better job.
Anyway, basically, please don't take our advice.
No, don't.
just kind of look at it as two mates figuring stuff out and sharing this ride of life. We've all been on some kind of journey with our bodies, from cabbage soup diets in the 90s to now seeing on social media about injections that stop you wanting to eat food full stop. So we thought that is our main topic today, isn't it? But first, how's your week been, Alex?
Do you know what? It's been a bit strange this week. I've got, has it been strange? I don't know. I feel a bit disconnected from myself this week. I had quite a relaxing weekend where I didn't do anything, but it's been the first one in a while. And that's caused me to feel a little bit deflated, if you like, because I don't know what it is. And I'm trying to work through this, but like being busy for me gives me purpose. So when I'm not busy, I kind of start to think, oh, my life's not great. You know, like I haven't learned how to just be content with whatever's going on.
I think that's one of the hardest lessons. Like I ran a sound bath last night, and I'm helping people kind of learn to just be. Yet it is something that I massively struggle with as well. So I really do relate to that just being, and we're very alike, aren't we, with this just working a lot.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've got an awareness now, so that's definitely progress, because before I just used to think, oh, my life's rubbish, it's not nice. But stopping drinking, and I know we keep coming back to it when we're not doing sober now, we're not doing the whole sober talk, but for me it is that start of waking up and going, how does my body feel? How do I feel? What's going on for me today? And like, they are questions that I will now check. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, right? I race on. I might have a go at everybody in the house. I think it's them. It's definitely all them. It's not me. And then I actually take a second and go, yeah, but is it? Because literally everybody's getting on my nerves today. They've all done something to me. That's suspicious. Could it be?
But you know what? I find this around the time of the month, right? So
I don't know when that is.
And I had the coiling for so long, so I never had periods. Anyway, I can't have it. Long story, cervix shut, closed for business, apparently.
Closed for business, the end.
Can't have it anymore. So I now have periods, and they really piss me off. Like,
how does your period come out if your cervix is closed?
Well, there's obviously an opening.
I do know that, by the way. I'm just joking, but no,
I'm glad you do, because I don't. But I feel like now I do have periods, and I get to that time, and I can feel it in myself, like around, like I feel weaker at the gym. There's always a time when I think, oh God, and I can tell that I'm coming on, and I'm just wondering as well if because you don't have that anymore, you perhaps do go through the same symptoms.
I do get the symptoms. I do get because I've got my coil in, same reason as you, and I'm a bit older than you, so I don't know whether that does mean I'm already heading further into menopause. I know it's different for everybody, but I genuinely don't know where I am in perimenopause now, because
does anybody though?
Maybe they've stopped. It'd be good if they had, but also a little bit like, oh wow, that's a new phase. So we'll not go there. I'm just going to blame the coil for now. I think it is my coil, and I get definite symptoms like, you know, like you've just said, weakness at the gym, the bloated feeling. You know, I was watching Rocky IV, my favourite film. We need to discuss this later. You know this, don't you, about me? Rocky IV.
I do know this, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm going to explain to you how Lisa knows it in a minute. Yeah, I do get, and watching Rocky IV, and I could feel myself like nearly crying just because Adrian was stood at the top of the stairs asking him not to fight. And I thought, whoa, I've seen this film a billion times. Don't normally feel emotional about this bit.
Yeah, so you can just tell, but I feel like that's it when people start doing your head in. But also, right, I said this to Rob the other week, maybe it's just that our tolerance is actually lower. So they are still pissing you off. They have still done wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever they've done, but I feel like normally, and I don't know whether this is just me as a woman making excuses, but I do feel like, you know what, that should piss me off, but maybe normally throughout the month, I'm like, just letting it go.
You let it go more.
Yeah. And it comes to a time. So then you're like, is it me or is it them? Well, actually, it's still fucking them.
How dare they get on my nerves more this week? No, I get what you're saying. I think, and I feel a little bit the same, that like, you know, yes, people piss me off more at certain points in the month, but that's not to do with the fact that it shouldn't. It's to do with my tolerance being a little bit lower because my hormones are running haywire. And while we're on about it, let me just tell people why, you know, about my Rocky IV, because this is slightly body imagey. I was heavily pregnant, and my party planner organizer decided to do a quiz about Alex, and Lisa suddenly decided that even though she'd known me for like 20 odd years, that she didn't know me well enough. So I taught her all the answers.
I swear to God, I didn't even know him though. Like I genuinely, and I'm like, I cannot show up to my best friend's baby shower and lose the quiz about you. Like, what? Have other people there like, look how much I know about it. Look, I'm a new friend.
But the thing is, though, you did know me, you just didn't know the boring facts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It were a boring. Quizzes are boring, though. You know me from quizzes. Why pub quizzes? Don't even know why they exist. Who wants to go to the pub and do an exam? Like
me?
No.
I love quizzes. You know that I love quizzes, but that's because I like being the winner. I hate it when I lose. But yeah, so yeah, that's why Lisa knows that Rocky IV is my favorite ever film, because I taught her it like 10 years ago.
Yeah, you did.
Happy 7 years sober, Lisa.
I know. Today, well, it won't be today for you guys listening. It'll be like way back then or last week or whenever we decide to do it. But yeah, I hit 7 years sober today, which is crazy to think that like 7 years ago, I've just done a post on my TikTok actually about how I woke up with the worst hangover. I hated myself. I'd been to a kitchen party 7 years ago. It was a Monday, and I didn't want to go to work. I was so ill and disgusted in myself. And I was like, that is it. And I'm not going to go on about it, but the difference that it's made, my life is so utterly different. Not just...
That's funny. That's funny. I'm not going to go on about it. Look how far we've come. Like 6 years ago on our podcast. That's literally what we were doing. We were going on about it.
Yeah, that is true. And you know what? It's something I didn't want to miss the milestone. It's such a big milestone, and it's such a natural part of who I am now. I don't miss it. I will always be so grateful that I made that decision that morning. And what I'm kind of learning to do is go, instead of I put it like when I say I'm grateful that I made that decision, actually, I want to start learning to own it. It was me that made that decision, and I should be proud of it. And do you know what I mean? I'm like grateful as if somebody else did it for me. But actually, I'm trying to get more comfortable with the relationship I have with myself, and being like, you know what, you did that, and you are pretty incredible for doing a thing. Like, I didn't know anybody that didn't drink 7 years ago. Anybody, not one person. And now my life is surrounded with people that don't drink. And it was a really lonely place.
All of it you've manufactured. Like, I'm just very conscious that I said, oh, I'm grateful. But what I mean is I'm grateful to you, because I wouldn't be sober. Rewritten wouldn't exist. Can I just point out why my sort of concern about me saying I am is also still there? Because a few years ago, it may well have been about 5 years ago on our podcast, somebody left a comment that on our podcast, I talk about me. Well, yeah. Oh, it was definitely about me. They just said, oh, they didn't mention her name, but oh, here she is again talking about herself. Get the fuck off my page. It's my podcast. Who do you think? Go and
I remember saying, like, why would you not? Like, it's our podcast. Like, that's what it's about. It's about us. So why would we not talk about us? It was like, yeah. What would you say to them
now? A podcast about someone else if you want to talk about someone else. Oh, so there we have it. 7 years sober, rewritten, few episodes in. We're doing well. We're doing very well. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk today, right? Because this is really a subject that's close to my heart now. And it's something I still struggle with, actually, even as a personal trainer, even as somebody who's constantly teaching women to not necessarily accept themselves as they are, because we want to evolve, we want to change, we want to be healthier, but maybe to not be so harsh on yourself when you judge yourself, because it's a journey. You've got to get from A to B. It took you X number of years to get from B to A. So why do we think we can transform back to the former self in such a short amount of time? And, and going back to cycles, last week, I promise you, I had a full meltdown looking in the mirror going, oh, I'm so fat. I hate how I look. Again, it's so ingrained, and I have to constantly remind myself that actually, I genuinely, this sounds really arrogant, but I genuinely am in the 1% of people that get up early, that go to bed early, that hydrate properly, that generally do, the 80-20 that we've talked about before, where I eat fairly well most of the time. I look after my body, I strength train, but still them old little habits of self-loathing creep in quite often. What do you find?
I think it's really, really difficult to not have them. And I think, honestly, who doesn't have their moments where they look in the mirror and they think like, I had it like usually as well, talking about cycles, when I'm coming on, I get really dry skin, and I feel like, and I'll say to myself like, oh, I look so old. What's fucking wrong with that? Like, and I think it's really hard, because that's the truth of it. I don't want to look like I see myself in the mirror sometimes. But also I'm so aware of like the culture, the diet culture, and the expectations of women in particular. Still, it's so bad, and I find it really, really difficult. And I'm dead interested for us to kind of talk through diet culture, and in particular we wanted to focus this episode on like Ozempic, Monjaro, things like that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And
so,
I think the first thing we should do is actually just delve back a little bit, if I'm honest. Like, think about our first time we were exposed to diet and feeling or being told you're overweight. And I can clearly remember mine. Clearly. I don't know whether it was my first experience, but certainly in a collection. I remember going to school, and I was in like last year high school, and I remember being approached by people, and it's just boys, teenage boys, but I remember a boy asking me if I was pregnant, and there was no reason I should have been pregnant, actually, if I'm really honest. But I remember thinking,
how old were you?
15.
Oh, they could have been.
Well, there wasn't at that point, but no, there wasn't. But like, why do they think that? And actually then going and looking at myself and thinking, oh, I've got a belly, I'm fat, I need to go on a diet. And it really affected me. I went home The reason I remember I was in year 11 is because we had red jumpers in year 11 and green every other year. And I can clearly remember looking down, even now, at my black skirt and my red jumper and thinking, oh, I look fat. And I went home and I remember saying to my mum and dad, am I fat? And my mum going, yeah, Nelly the elephant. But genuinely, that might sound cruel, but that was my mum's sense of humour, like sarcasm. But she wasn't. She just went, oh, Nelly the elephant. And then they both did that, Nelly the elephant, as a bit of a joke. But for me, I was absolutely devastated. And I was like, do I do? And they were like, do you, heck? We're only joking. But that was it. I was on a diet. And honestly, it really, what I did was when I look back, it was quite dangerous. I was eating a jacket potato a day. That was it.
Wow.
That was it. One jacket potato every day. I wouldn't eat at school. I wouldn't have my breakfast. And I wasn't doing anything destructive like being sick or, anything like that.
But that is destructive, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
it's self-destructive. The eating the jacket potato, the way you suddenly started talking to yourself would have been more destructive.
Yeah, and the fact that as I lost weight and everybody started to go, wow, you've lost weight, gave me my worth of like, oh my God, it's working. I look really good. That is the start of it. And then became the numbers on the scale. I remember years later, so fast forward to being 19, a load of us in my bathroom when I first got married, and a load of girls getting on the scales, and they were 9 stone 2 and 9 stone 3 and all this, and going, oh, I'm so heavy. And I'd always been a heavy person just because of the way I'm built. And I remember I was 10 stone 10. I was the heaviest girl and being absolutely devastated. And actually, I looked okay. I looked pretty good. But that set me again on, right, I need to get, they're saying they're heavy at 9'4". I need to lose weight. I went down to 8 stone 5 that year in about 21. And I'm looking, and now I'm muscly now, but now I am 11 stone 5, let's say. I think I'm about 11 stone 5, and I am genuinely not overweight. I'm muscly now, but I was 8 stone 5. I was very, very underweight for my height and for my age.
You know what's making me really sad there is that that. Like, I know you're really good with dates and memories, like anything I need to know dates wise, I come to you. But the fact that you're aware of your weight and can look back and say, this is what I was and this is what I went to back then is really sad. I think
well,
that's...
Again, it's that visual experience as well, Lisa. I remember wearing I had a pair of white, I was working at your mum's pub, and I remember having a pair of white jeans on, and they were like a size 6 to 8. Now, anyone who knows me, I'm a comfortable 10 to 12, and I was so happy that I had this perfectly flat stomach. And I'd not realised, I look back now and I'm like, whoa, even to when I first had Abel, 9 years ago, because I was breastfeeding, I went straight down to 9 stone 2 and I was looking at the numbers. So I think I've always had quite a negative experience with my body, with my weight, and that chasing the number on the scales. It's never been about.
I think that's what is really getting to me listening to you, is that you've always known them numbers.
And even always... now. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you then. That's
no, it's all right. I just think it's sad. It's well sad that you've always known them, that it's mattered that much. Do you know what I mean?
Huge.
I was reading actually about the diet culture and how it affects all of us, which it does, and in any way, shape or form, it really does. But kids, even as young as 9, who are dieting, are at higher risk for developing an eating disorder.
Yeah.
And that's like as young as 9 years old. And I think it's that focusing on your child's appearance, like people making judgment about like the food that they're eating and referring, I suppose, to how they look. Do you know what I mean? Like putting the two together.
It happens now. And in my life now, and that's where my point is going, I guess. So I've then, since knowing that I had the number of 9 stone 9, don't ask me, I can't even remember where that number's come from. I wanted to be 9 stone 9. I think it's just because both are out of double figures. And this sounds so pathetic with all the trauma I've been through, but casually traumatized by 10 stone 10. So I decided I was going to be single figures. So maybe that's where 9 stone 9 comes from. I don't know. Looking back, whenever I'm 9 stone 9, I look thin, rake thin. But that was the number I wanted. And even now, when I get on the scales, I'm just about coming round to the idea that actually I've realized that for all these years, it has never been about how I look and feel, because if it had been, I wouldn't need to go on the scales. I would look in the mirror and go, oh, I look pretty good. That would be the end of it. But no, I'm one of those people up until very recently who showers, washes my hair, takes all my jewelry off, goes for a wee, tries to have a poo, gets on the scales first thing in the morning so that I can get the number as low as possible. That's just irrational, because I look no different than 20 minutes before all those things had happened. So that's when
Would you say that was a disorder in some way?
Oh yeah. It's a disorder. Yeah. And if I link that then to the fact that I'm now a personal trainer, that comes from all the years of exercising to out train the diet to keep thin, to keep the number low. It's changed for me now, which we can revisit as we move through the conversation, I guess. But if genuinely, if you're at home, and I say this as a professional in this industry now, if you're at home and you're stripping off to get on the scales and you're having your wee and you're having your poo and you're having your shower, this is not about looking and feeling good for you. This is about the number on the scales, and you really need to visit that. You really need to look and go, why am I doing all those things? Because do you look any different after you've taken your clothes off? Do you look any different after you've taken your jewelry off? And the answer is no. It's not. You're not losing body fat in the time it takes to do those things, to weigh in yourself. You're just making the number look better.
It's really sad, isn't it?
It's very sad. It's very sad, and it's a bit. Yeah. And I still do have every now and again. You know this. You remind me, and you even say, even now, you're not fat, Alex. And I know that. You know, but it has definitely come from somewhere. What about you? So come on, let's turn to you. How's yours been?
Okay, so I was a very tall child and I was very slim. So my experiences come kind of from the opposite way, but also it's a way that infuriates me, because again, it goes back to diet culture and what people think people should be like. So a lot of the time I've had through my life, from being a really, really young age, like, oh, it's all right for you because you're thin. It's all right for you. Like this has happened a lot. So my own experiences with things were, I always felt too tall.
Yeah.
So it's about the body image more than anything. Like I hated being tall. And I always remember somebody, when you said at school, and walking through the dinner hall at primary school, and this is so bad. I know, because I know who it was, and it absolutely like gutted me at the time. And it was just one of them passing comments, and there was like, oh look, there's lanky Lisa. And it really, and I've learned since with like, I mean, since being 40 odd and being diagnosed with ADHD and learning about rejection sensitivity dysphoria and how hard I actually find comments like that, compared, like not many people would like it, but it hits me in a very like a painful way. And I remember the pain of them words. And so I always felt lanky. That was always kind of like, it weren't a nice word to be called. Like
No, it's not a nice word, is it?
No, it was awful.
If they said, there's slim, tall Lisa, that's a very different connotation to their lanky.
Again, though, bollocks to that, because
no, it's a different connotation.
Yeah, it is a different kind of, it is. But again, it's that judgment that people have on how we should look. And even from back then, I used to have adults, oh, look how tall she is. She should be a model because she's tall, not because I had like a beautiful face or anything. Like
oh, you did though.
just because I was tall. But so I always struggled with my own body image, but I always felt all right about my weight because I fitted into what society, I suppose, saw as acceptable, as in being quite slim. Do you know what I mean? So it never
Yeah,
really
yeah,
bothered me until I got older. Like, so when you go back all them years about going on the scales, I never did that as a teenager. I never did it in my early 20s. I had Beth when I was 19. I was pregnant again with Ben when I was 22. I remember after having Ben going out actually, and somebody coming up to me and saying like, "Oh wow, you look like you've lost loads of weight." And I don't know why. I must have weighed myself because I knew like I was only 11 or like over 11 stone at that time. And just to put this into context and why I feel the need to do this, I don't know, because this also pisses me off. But I want to tell you, I'm 5'9". It's kind of normal weight for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, whoever decides that is normal. In fact, fuck off normal. But I remember saying, like, I was just over 11 stone and then going, wow, I wouldn't have thought that. And in that
Like,
moment, me thinking,
yeah,
like, what? Like, is that bad? Am I like, and so that was my moment where I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not what I'm supposed to be. And after that, I remember I tried running and I was going to the gym and I was doing all these things to kind of lose weight, not for the health benefits of it, not to build strength, and this then got me on this pattern of I hated exercise because I was trying to use exercise to get myself slimmer and thinner to what people thought, but then it put me off exercise and I saw it as a really massive chore and I hated it. So yeah, and then years and years later, I always call it Fat France. I was in my 30s. I was eating a lot of bread. I was drinking a lot of red wine. I was settled. And I remember like I was wearing flowy dresses at the time and it was covering that for me, I'd put on quite a lot of weight. I was like way over 12 stone then. And I remember lying there, like, you know, when you're half asleep, but not. And the kids were, they'll laugh when they hear this, but they were literally feeding me Maltesers, right? And I was like, right, that is it. I have had enough. And I look back at the pictures and I always say when I was in Fat France, because I just feel like I had baguettes under my arms and red wine and Maltesers being fed to me. And after that, my mum was going to a Slimming World group. So I said, right, I remember like coming back and going, I'm going to come to this Slimming World group with you. And I did. I lost 2 stone at the Slimming World group. But I couldn't believe I could eat all this food, blah, 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 blah. ADHD style, I become a consultant, I become a freaking area manager, all that jazz. And so I've kind of been in and out, but I remember people coming to the scales at Slimming World. And even then I was really passionate about, I know we're weighing you, but this isn't about that. I don't want you weighing yourself every single day at home. It is unhealthy to
I have clients
be doing
who
that.
still weigh themselves every day.
And for me, it was the food. It was eating the healthy food. And I still agree with a lot of that. I think it's really important to be eating healthy food. I stay away from like diet products now and stuff. And I just find it so hard. And I think people very much assume that only thin people have eating disorders.
I agree.
People would say when I was like a teenager, they'd worry about me or ask, and I ate like a pig. That's all I can say. I ate shit. I ate crisps and chocolate and noodles and all the things that you shouldn't do, as well as all the things that you should. But I just didn't really put on weight. But people used to always kind of ask if I had an eating disorder or would check in.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's not a thing people like when we're talking like now, I believe, and this was a study done like way back in 2011. I couldn't actually find anything like near to this time, which is also ridiculous. But it actually says that less than 6% of people with eating disorders are actually underweight.
Yeah, and there's, like when I just want to take you back a couple of things you've said there, which I can really relate to. I remember a boyfriend of mine, a particular boyfriend, around the same time consolidating the idea that I was fat because I was walking up Calderbrook Road where we used to live, and he turned to me and went, "Oh, you're looking a bit fat there." And I remember that contributing to it. And it's always come down to acceptance. And I'll tell you what, you've just actually made me realize it right now on this podcast, because when I actually gave birth to my middle child, Leah, I literally had a bump. And what brought it back to me is what you were saying about having Ben. And after I'd had her, I was determined. I took my size 10 jeans to the hospital with me. And I remember putting them on and keeping them open with a hair bubble because I could get in them apart from the belly. I had 4:30 in the morning. I did my hair, I did my makeup before my ex-husband even came to visit me. I looked shit up for and I just had a baby. But it was all about him going, "Wow, you look." I'm honestly, I had 4:30 in the morning.
I get it. How many people do it? People put these pictures up with the babies, and what's the comment? "Oh, you look amazing." Like, what is wrong with us as a society?
You've just pushed a baby out of my vagina.
Yeah. Let's like have a little bit more realness with this. I remember doing it with Beth, but this is purely due to being really naive. So, like I said, I was a young mum. I had Beth when I was just 19 actually. And I remember packing my hospital bag and just throwing my stuff in that I used to wear before I was pregnant. Didn't even cross my mind. Like, wait, I didn't think about it at all. And I remember trying to get these pants on thinking, what the fuck? Because they just wouldn't go on. And that was just naivety. It wasn't like me worrying. And I didn't even think about weight after that, actually. It didn't even cross my mind. It was when I had Ben, but I always remember, and I'll say to Ben, like when I was pregnant with him, like my fingers were fat. I was so swollen everywhere.
Unable. Boys. Let me ask you something. Have you ever done a diet, like a stupid diet, a diet that you think, what was I doing?
I haven't really, not like that. I think has been really stupid or crazy. I remember doing the fasting once and like a smoothie diet, and I hated it. Like, I really did hate it. And I remember thinking then, like, it's not all right, this. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah. I've done a juicing
nothing
diet.
crazy. Have you done anything stupid or crazy?
I've done loads of diets over the years. I've done Slimming World, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done calorie counting, I've done keto. I have literally done everything, all to lose weight. Never really any thought into what that means. But my worst one probably has to be the juicing one that I did when the oldest two kids were really small, and me and my auntie decided to go on it. And all I can remember is buying like all these vegetables and going to Tesco. Honestly, I spent, like, at the time, bearing in mind there were two of us, me and my auntie, I think we spent £100 each on fruit and veg for this juicing diet. And honest to God, I made one juice.
It's making me burp.
I made one green thing, and it was disgusting. And I did about 3 days on it, and I thought, oh, I don't like it. But I would have done it. I would have, if I'd have liked the taste, I would have done it. I would have carried on.
Yeah.
And I did not really need those kind of drastic diets ever, even when I've been, statistically overweight or whatever.
Yeah.
To the point where I remember walking into Slimming World years and years and years ago, and I was like that alcoholic that isn't allowed into AA. Why are you here? Because I was too thin to be at Slimming World. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. That because I used to have people come to my group, and we used to talk about this actually, and about the healthy eating side of it. I ran such a good group. I don't think I stuck to the full thing that they should have done. Or it's other like consultants going out there and really promoting the bits of shit that they shouldn't, and focusing on like these cheat ways rather than the healthy ways. But talking about crazy diets, then I've actually done a little bit of research into crazy diets, Alex. So I did want to like bring these up. So dieting actually goes back to like where is it? Oh my gosh, the 19th century, right?
Okay.
And these were a few of the crazy things that were genuine diets back then, right? Genuine. People did this. The first one was arsenic diet pills. arsenic diet pills. So these like
Oh, your
skyrocketed
near-death experience.
in popularity in the 19th century. However, they often had dangerous, if not deadly, ingredients, one of the most prominent being arsenic. What the hell?
Do you know, you've just reminded me, do you know what I did used to do as well? It's not arsenic, but do you remember Pro Plus?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I did a Pro Plus
not
stage.
to stay awake. I used to take more than I should have done because I believed it sped my metabolism up and would keep me thinner. There's another
Do
one.
you know what? I did once eat more polos than I should because somebody said they made you poop. And I thought,
to try and lose weight?
yeah, I have. Yeah, I forgot about that. But I did the Pro Plus, but that was to keep awake. God, we all went through a stage of that. I remember there were nobody that didn't have a packet of Pro
Nobody
Plus
that
in
wasn't
their
acting out like that.
pocket. Oh my gosh, that is so. And then we moved on to Whiz, but that's another story.
Whiz.
A bit of Whiz. Oh, that's awful. I used to
Whiz.
walk home.
Oh my word.
I used to walk home from town.
That is speed amphetamine.
It's so disgusting.
Carry on.
But yeah, that was a genuine one. Another one that people used to do with the Lord Byron's vinegar diet.
Ugh.
That is crazy, isn't it? Another one, rubber underwear. That's still going, I think, basically. Not rubber, but like spanch, yeah. It says in the 19th century, Charles Goodyear, guy, obviously, discovered how to improve rubber through vulcanization with the, there's too many big words.
He must be the Goodyear tyre man.
But you are?
He must be the Goodyear tyres.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he must be. I bet he is. You know, Goodyear tyres. I bet it's rubber and vulcanization. I bet you any money he's the guy that invented Goodyear
Yeah, I bet he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, people believe that rubber underwear would not only hold them in, but also induce sweating, which in turn would cause weight loss. However, the underwear would often cut into or moisten the wearer's skin, leading to infections. The fad would have likely continued if not for World War I, because the rubber was needed for the war effort.
Do you know what?
Give me your knickers.
Give me your knickers. Give me your knickers.
We need them for the war. Yeah, whatever. I see you coming.
Can I just say something about that, though? There we go. So this is my point about these. And I want to move on to Ozempic and Mounjaro in a second. But this is my point, I guess, that my biggest point about weight loss fads and weight loss injections, that it is weight, right?
Yeah.
People were wearing rubber knickers to lose weight. Think about that. They believed they would sweat. They're not losing fat. That is losing water. Vital water that your body needs to function, and that's good enough. That's where it's all about the number on the scale again.
I've got some more. Can I tell you some more?
Yeah, of course you can. Go on.
The tapeworm diet.
Oh, well, I've heard of that one, yeah. People used to eat
so people swallowed beef tapeworm cysts or pills containing a tapeworm's head to lose weight in an effort to maintain Victorian standards of physical beauty.
I think that still happens, you know, in some places. I think you can still ingest a tapeworm for weight loss. In fact, my husband jokes sometimes and says, oh, the only thing that's going to get rid of my weight is eating a tapeworm.
Oh, listen to this, though.
Go on.
Oh, this is gross. The end goal of the method was for the tapeworms to mature in the intestines, therefore absorbing the host's food and nutrients and causing weight loss. Then, when the goal weight was achieved, the dieter would begin a course of antiparasitics in an attempt to rid themselves of the parasite. Sometimes, I can't even believe it, I'm holding onto my wall again.
Pull them out.
The tapeworm would grow to be several feet long, which would lead to another serious complications, especially when the parasite would travel to other body areas, such as the brain, eyes, appendix, or pancreas.
There's a myth, I don't know if it's true or not, or there's certainly something said that you used to coax a tapeworm out of your mouth with food and then grab it and pull it out. I don't think that's true, though.
I can't believe it. Right, there's only a couple more, right?
Do
The
you
other
see
one
that
is
though, again, Lisa? There's another point, because let's look at it again. We're giving something else our food. Food. I want everybody to be thinking about what food is. It's what you need to stay alive, man. It's your cells need it. Come on,
it's
carry on.
crazy, isn't it? The Lucky Strike diet, Lucky Strike cigarettes.
We know that, because I used to when I smoked, one of the reasons I wouldn't give up was because I was frightened of putting on weight when I gave up. Truth.
Yeah. In fact, I remember so many people would say that. So I remember my mum saying that I'm not giving up because I'll put on weight, and so that then obviously passes like down, doesn't it? But yeah, I remember thinking
because
the same.
basically smoking suppresses your appetite, so you start to eat more out of boredom and out of cross addiction and out of just doing it.
Oh my gosh. It basically says like cigarettes began, Lucky Strike cigarettes began targeting a new empowered flapper, I don't know what that means, female audience. So the company's campaign stated, reach for a lucky instead of a sweet, because what do empowered women love more than having diet shoved down our throats? That's what's saying. Other advertisements of the time promoted, when tempted to overindulge, reach for a lucky instead.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Another one was the
before we
grapefruit.
knew the dangers of smoking, but even so, it's just literally saying you need to be thin.
You know what makes
to
it
be
like,
thin.
what really pisses me off about stuff like this, like you just said then, it's before they knew the dangers of smoking, like doctors used to advertise cigarettes. And I just think there's so many things now that we do not know the dangers of, that doctors do advertise even now. Like things haven't, like as much as they've changed, and like now it would be ludicrous for your doctors to say, you know what, go and buy yourself a packet of cigarettes on the way home. You'd be like, what the hell? But they did. It was a fact that that's what happened. And now I believe that there is stuff being pushed on people through doctors even now, and they do not know how dangerous it is. Even for just one example that's in all our faces at the moment is vaping. And how
I'll give you another one. Statins.
Statins,
no informed consent on statins at the moment. Like, yes, we know that statins lower cholesterol. That's not in doubt. But the side effects of statins sometimes far outweigh the benefit for people who've never had a previous heart attack. So I know there's a lot of evidence that if you've had a heart attack, a statin will reduce your cholesterol, and it does actually increase your life expectancy, for example. But if you've never had a heart attack, and I take this from research by Dr. Asim Malhotra, so this is not my medical advice, but if you've never
even remembers that name?
He's a cardiac surgeon.
No, you fascinate me. I love it.
I think he's a lifestyle medicine doctor. I think that's what he's called on Instagram. But he's an actual heart surgeon, and even he says statins do not increase life expectancy in certain categories. So they're not actually needed for everybody, yet it is believed that there is an incentive to prescribe them to lower cholesterol. But if everybody knew I'm not saying don't take statins. If you know all the side effects, all the benefits, and you think you need them, great. But we're not told everything, are we?
No, that's it. We're not, and we're learning and evolving all the time, aren't we? And so are our doctors, I suppose. Right, we've got the grapefruit one, where basically people could lose apparently 10 pounds in only 12 days by consuming only 600 to 700 calories daily. It was only ever intended to last 18 days. Many dieters would lengthen the amount of time. And basically, they had to eat an entire grapefruit alongside every meal. And it was one of the first ever popular low-carb diets. So you could eat eggs, meat, and other high protein and high fat foods, but you had to have an entire grapefruit.
So let's just move to calories quickly then. So, right, basically everybody's got what's their BMR, okay, your basal metabolic rate. Basically, that is the calories that you need to just lie flat and breathe and not die, right? So everybody's got this BMR that can be calculated, and that is how many calories you need to just exist without doing anything. You just exist. And then, of course, you've got your activities. How many calories do you need to move to do your job, to just, you know, to be active? And then, of course, you've got your people like us who strength train, and we need more calories because we're doing more work. And every calorie is definitely not equal. This is coming from my biology now. Every calorie is definitely not equal. So certain calories, certain nutrients are better. What we know factually is that your body needs carbohydrates, it needs proteins, it needs fats, and it needs water to survive, alongside loads of minerals and loads of vitamins. Needs them, okay? Absolutely needs them. And yet, what we're being told by some of these old diets is reduce your calories, you'll lose weight. You will, because you are starving your body of what it needs. So what happens is when you go under the calories that you need to just exist, lay flat breathing in kind of a coma state, if you eat less than that, your body will tap into your fat reserves and your muscle reserves to get the rest of the calories it needs to just survive. So when you are dieting, what happens is you're losing fat, you're losing water, you're losing protein from your muscles, you're basically wasting away. So if you eat the right calories while you're doing that, as in get your protein so that your muscle keeps building, keep doing your weight training, keep doing all those things, you can lose weight in a really healthy way. And when I say lose weight, what I actually mean now is lose fat. That's what the aim should be, to lose fat, because fat, especially visceral fat around your organs, is dangerous, is going to kill you, is going to lead to problems. And apparently where we make that visceral fat from isn't fat in your diet. It's from the crap in your diet, like sugar. Now that, I don't think we're told.
No, we're not told that. And I think we're assuming that fat means that you are walking around as a larger person. And that is not always the case. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I really struggle with this, like, we've got to lose weight. We've got, like, it's just so ingrained into everybody that even when we're talking about all of this, then we kind of go in and go, but you could do it this way or this way, or this is the way we're going to be doing it. And actually it doesn't fucking matter. Like, what we want to be is, like you said, is healthy, like
strong.
Healthy and strong. And we all come in different shapes and different sizes and different heights and all of these things. We're all different. And I think when you look back at older like magazines and stuff, and you can see all different women and men of all different shapes and sizes. And I think what really frustrates me is the world applauding thin women. About, do you know what I mean? For being thin, like, this is all right. And they do it the same.
She looks incredible. She looks amazing. Look, it's the wording, isn't it? Looking slim and strong on the beach, or looking amazing.
But then we love it. We love getting them compliments because it's so ingrained in us that people say, oh my gosh, you've lost weight, you look great. That full sentence is so fucked up. Like, it is not all right. Like, why are we commenting on people's appearance and bodies? And I think when we're talking about thin people, like a thin woman is absolutely, like, celebrated for talking about body positivity, right? They are. But the world rejects fat people who talk about body positivity. And I do want to kind of talk about that, because there's a lot of body positivity now on social media and stuff. And I genuinely...
I'm very conflicted about this, Lisa.
Right, go on then. You tell me what your thoughts are about the body positivity.
So generally speaking, and this isn't in every case, but people who are overweight, as in got a lot of body fat visibly, are not healthy. It generally correlates to, if you are overweight on the outside, you are unhealthy on the inside. Not always, but generally. And I do think there's been a big push in the last 4 or 5 years to go, I'm overweight, so what? I look amazing, which is good. If you feel like that, that's very empowering and that's very fantastic. However, we should always all be looking at the health on the inside and going, right, it's good to be body positive. However, if I do X, I can improve my body composition, or I can improve my muscle tone, or I can improve my strength. I think it's the angle on the weight loss that needs to be flipped, not necessarily the it's fine to be fat or fine to be overweight. I don't think it is. Just to put this into context, I don't think it's fine to be underweight either. And in fact, it's more dangerous to be underweight than it is to be overweight on your body. But I think body positivity is fantastic. It's great to be confident in your skin, and it has to come with a health caveat.
Yeah. I think for me, what you see, and especially on social media, is when you talk about a thin person talks about how they finally decided to quit extreme dieting and extreme exercise. Everybody, and then everyone's going, yay, body positivity, acceptance, brilliant. But when a fat person says the same thing, about extreme exercise and extreme dieting, then people are outraged. And I think that is diet culture in itself, isn't it? The assumption that thin is best. That is what they're saying, thin is best. And
I agree with that fully.
It's not. The fact that thin people are applauded for healing their relationship with food and body, while fat people are harshly criticised, and that's kind of putting it nicely. They get really criticised. And I think a lot of the magazines and stuff that are showing, and because it is changing now, and you are seeing more and more people in magazines that are bigger, which is
types.
What do you think to that?
I think it's right. I think it should be. I don't think we need to be putting pressure on individuals when our bloody food industry is plowing out shit fast food that's affordable, and then keeping the food that we actually need to be strong and healthy too expensive for the average person to be buying to make the change. So I agree. I think it's not the people that need to change, it's the very culture of society and the very way that things are sold, as in, advertised to us, that needs to change. It's our education that needs to change. Like these injections, okay. So
I just want to put a thing out, because I saw the other week, like JD Sports were advertising larger women, and I don't know whether they're doing it with men, because they should actually. Why are they just doing it with women? It should be with both. And I do think it's a really, really good thing. And I think it's about making fitness more accessible to everybody, because going to the gym and stuff like that is a really scary place for everybody. And I like to see that, and I'd like to see more of that. But
what people don't realize is that you cannot outtrain an unhealthy diet. You cannot. Unless you are exercising extreme several times a day, you cannot lose weight alone, lose fat alone and by fat I mean the visceral fat around your organs, the harmful stuff, by exercise. You do need to diet. But dieting is wrong in the way it's advertised. That's my point. What we need to be doing is eating plenty of protein, 1.2-ish grams minimum per kilogram of your own body weight. All right, 1.2 minimum.
See what I mean? Like, if anyone needs that, get a pen and paper and rewind.
I'll tell you how to do this dead quick.
30 seconds, because I would really struggle with it. Like that to me
Let me
makes
tell you how to do this, right? Find out your weight in kilograms, either by getting on the scale or taking your weight in stone. There's like 14 pounds in a stone. So you need to work out how many pounds and divide it by 2.2. That's how you work out how many kilograms you are. But if you literally just type into Google, this much weight in kilograms, that's what you want. If you double that number, that's the protein goal you're roughly aiming towards, to be on the high end of protein. That's double it. But basically at least the same amount, one-ish. So if I weigh 73 kilograms, I want an absolute minimum for somebody who's not training of 73 grams of protein per day. And actually, it's better if I have more like 140.
Yeah.
And that is
People
hard to do.
don't have enough, do they? We don't eat enough.
And this again,
it's because of the bullshit culture about it, that we don't. We're scared. We've been led to believe like all these like really small portion sizes and calories and all of that. And I think it's learning to eat the right food to be happy and healthy, so you feel happy and healthy.
Eggs are the best source, and I know if you're a vegan, this is quite difficult, but eggs is the best. Eggs are the best source, you know, of getting your protein in fast. So some of my clients go, I have eggs every day, and I go, how many are you having? They're going 2, and I'm like, that's 26 grams of protein maximum. It's not enough. I eat 4 to 6 eggs every day. The only
you could have done, Alex, on number 9 of the craziest diets, the boiled egg and white wine diet back in your day. What? You'd have enjoyed that.
I would have enjoyed that.
1962.
White wine and eggs. What else can a girl ask for?
I'd have done that. If I'd have seen that, I'd been like, you know what? I'll give that one a go.
I'd have done that. I'd just got too pissed to worry about what the eggs tasted like. But you know, these things like your meat, your fish, your pulses, your beans, eggs are really good. Some yogurts, although yogurt you've got to be careful with because a lot of it's low fat, it's packed with crap. Greek style yogurt, not great. You want to get a proper Greek yogurt. So be careful because supermarkets advertise their yogurt as Greek yogurt when it's just Greek style. It's padded with shit. But you're getting your protein from there. Then you want to look at your fats. Okay, you can get 9 calories in a gram of fat. So have a look how many healthy fats you're getting from your avocados, your nuts, your animal fats, your olive oils, things like that. Then you want to look at your carbs. And where you can, your carbs really should come from natural sources: potatoes, carrots, broccolis, from your vegetables, fruits, not from bread, flour, pasta, and even to a certain extent rice. Not great.
Oh, you slimming worlders have just had a meltdown now. I do like pasta though, and I will continue to eat it.
But again, it's okay to eat stuff
but this is what I mean. You can take anything to the extreme. And I think even with this, Alex, and that information, and I know it's like, it's learning what is good for your body, isn't it? And learning to eat healthily and not just kind of going, all right, like, because what we hear is when we tell people things like this is what like people like me hear is, oh my God, bread pasta, you can't have it. And not all the other bits. And you can have them things, or do you know what I mean? It's just
it's real. What I try and teach my clients is if it looks pretty similar to how it would have done when it was either growing, running, flying or swimming, eat it. The more ingredients on the packet, the worse it is for you. So just flip the packet over and have a look. If there's like 7 ingredients or less, eat it. You're not like going to avoid.
Yeah, it's really hard, this topic, I think, as well, innit? With like, we have got an episode, haven't we, where we talk about things like that with Davinia Taylor as well, which that has a lot of information about stuff like that as well. But I think you're talking about there about like proteins and eating well, which actually leads on to like what we wanted to talk about with the Ozempic and the Mounjaro, because this is like big now in like, because everybody knows somebody. I feel like it's, I don't know whether people have just started saying like being more open with it or
it's just what? Because it's become, I mean, basically, I think they've now said that certain people are entitled to be prescribed it on the NHS. And to the point where in one of my local Facebook groups, there was an advertisement from one of the local medical centres that said, please, can you all stop contacting, words to this effect, I'm paraphrasing, can you all stop contacting us about Mounjaro? If you're eligible, we'll contact you. They must have had that many calls.
Yeah.
This is last week, by the way. This is not like months ago. I mean, I've got several people, I know several people, probably more than most people know because of my job, who are on it. And I think that they are another tool to lose weight. My issue with the injections is the mechanisms by which it's helping people to lose weight and the process by how people are acting during it, because I think there is a big risk with these injections that it becomes a quick fix. Yeah. So I've got a lady and I've asked her permission. She said that I could talk about this, but she was in recovery from cancer. She'd therefore put on quite a bit of weight through her treatment and generally just probably through like her own lifestyle of how difficult that time was. And she's been weight training with me for a while, was doing really well and was strong. and went on to the injections, done amazing. She's lost 3 stone in weight. She's in a really healthy weight category now. But I've supported her to do that. And by that, what I mean is she has recognised all along that what the weight loss injections do is stop her being hungry. Now, that's dangerous. And I'm not going to this particular person generally. People are going, and these are comments that I have either heard or been told about, things like, oh, no, thanks, I don't need to eat that. I'm not hungry. I'm on the jabs. Like, that is a big warning sign for me. You're not hungry. You're on the jabs. It's suppressing your appetite. Therefore, you are starving yourself. That you'll lose weight. Absolutely, you will. But you're still starving yourself. You're not taking in what you need. That's worrying. And the other thing is that we don't know by these injections exactly how they operate. So it's like weight loss isn't only fat loss, it's water loss, it's bone loss. We know it degrades bones, we know it wastes muscles. That's terrifying, because if the one thing, especially women in their midlife, need to be focusing on, it's keeping strong, it's having good bone density, it's having a good muscle mass. Because if you're going to get osteoporosis, you're going to end up weakening your bones, losing your muscle, falling, fracturing a hip, which, as you and I know, and we'll see at some point about getting Angela back on if we can.
Oh, yeah, that would be really good.
Be good. But if you fall and you fracture a hip, you are pretty much, if you cannot recover, your life expectancy is reduced drastically because of all sorts of things. And that's what these injections do. They are non-discriminate. They target weight loss. So my client that I'm referring to specifically, what we've done is we've recognized 2 things. One, that she needs to maintain and increase her strength training throughout taking the injections to keep her bone density up. We've done more impact work, more slamming. We've done more weights to keep her muscles strong. And we've changed her behavior. So she's forced herself to eat the right amount of calories, even when she's not hungry, but new calories. She's been hitting a protein goal. She's been eating the sourdough bread instead of the white processed supermarket bread. She's been eating her eggs instead of her porridge oats. She's been not eating pizzas and fast foods, not eating sweets, chocolate and biscuits. She's changed her diet so that now she's actually weaning off the injections. The food noise is coming back, but she's able to reach for the right things because we've worked on behavior. And I think that's how they can be done safely. That's my opinion, by the way.
I don't even know what happens. You might know because you've got clients then that have these. Do they go through? Do they get like linked up with dietitians or nutritionists or PTs or anything like that? Because that is definitely missing then. What I don't think is all right, because there is meant to be lots of benefits for these injections as well that I've seen. There's a lot of side effects. I've found some good ones here.
Well, let's have them. Let's have them now. It's an appropriate
also time. There is meant to be, so I don't just kind of want to diss it as a really bad thing, when actually it is doing incredible things for people when they are using it in the right way, and like you say, working with the injection, rather than what scares me is people thinking it's an easy way. I don't have to do anything. I can just go get the injection, lose weight, don't have to think about it anymore.
Because it will come back on.
And I think that's dangerous. And I think it's for the wrong reasons. Again, it's not about being healthy. It's about what society wants that person to look like, what we feel like we should look like. And that is why I think they're getting so many phone calls. Because how many of them phone calls are going, I want to be strong and healthy, and they're not.
And I have to say, can I just put that in there at that point, that the client I'm telling you about wanted to lose weight because statistically she is far less likely to have a reoccurrence of cancer if she's in a good BMI, if she's got low body fat. And BMI is a whole new topic, by the way, because I hate that. I won't, BMI is not accurate. I'm overweight on the BMI scale because muscle is more dense than fat. But so it's an outdated way. But statistically speaking, if we're just talking about facts, lower BMIs, lower body weights, being in a healthy body weight, is all less likely to lead to a recurrence of cancer. So she did want to lose body fat for the right reasons, but she also recognized, because she was already with me, that needs to be done whilst maintaining bone, whilst maintaining muscle. And you're absolutely right, Lisa. How many people do not know that fact? How many people are just going, oh, well, I'll lose it. And the moment you come off those injections, because you weaned back down eventually when you've lost your weight, you're just going to do what every other diet in the world does. If you have not changed the fundamental behaviors, boom, straight back on.
Yeah. I just think it's really scary that things are given out. I'm not against these being like given out and the people taking them for the right reasons. But what I do think is massively missing is somebody sitting down with that person and talking to them about their individual needs for what they want. And what do you know? I just think it's really frightening that people think of it as a quick and easy way, when actually it can be really beneficial for people. And if somebody sat there saying, like, do you know that you really need to limit alcohol if you're on these, because that it can be really dangerous. All the other things, there was something about like rats in the clinical trials developed thyroid tumors, but it's not yet known if this risk applies to humans. For me, that really scares me. It's like what we were saying before, when doctors were recommending cigarettes and stuff. So it just worries me that when they're saying it's not yet known, is because we are the experiment, and that's do you know what I mean? They're not going to know until it happens to humans.
Absolutely. We've got no long-term live studies till now. And it's just worth mentioning as well, when we're talking about Ozempic and Mounjaro and other brands, they are brands. We're actually talking here, for anyone who just knows it by its medical term, the GLP-1s. It's all these categories, these same categories. And I think you're absolutely right with all of that. Going in blind, going in without being told this information, it's really detrimental. And can I just say something else?
Just putting it on a piece of paper as the side effects or whatever, because who really reads it? You probably do, because you're really good at that.
I don't. But well, I do sometimes. That's not true.
Well, I've read them now, and I'm not even going for them. But we both went away to do our bits of research because we knew this conversation was happening. And what, if anybody knows us, or they might have figured out already, is Alex is going to come back and give you the scientific research of this, and I am going to give you this kind of stuff.
Before you tell us this kind of stuff, can I just say something that controversial?
Yeah.
I don't think PTs should be the ones giving nutritional advice.
No, I don't think that is controversial. I think a nutritionist.
But we are allowed by law with our qualification to give nutrition advice.
Right. So it can be very much opinion depending on your PT, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, I still see PTs now telling people to eat low-fat diets. They're highly processed, right? Biologically, talking about the body, a low-fat yogurt gives you more crap than eating a full-fat yogurt. So if you're getting that kind of advice from your PT, I'm sorry, I don't agree with it.
Yeah, no, I think
tell us what you're going to tell me.
There should be like disclaimers everywhere, and I'm going to put ours out there again, like as much as, like, please just see this as us having a conversation, and we're not saying what is absolutely right and what is absolutely wrong. It is just
you're a fly on the wall. That's all you are, a fly on the wall, not medical advice. Go, tell us.
So apparently you can get sulfur burps.
Ooh.
And it's, I know, that's what I mean when this is the stuff I find.
Heart burps, they are basically. You smell like a volcano.
Sulfur burps, not your average belch. They've been described as rotten eggs from hell. That's what.
Oh, rotten eggs from hell! Wow.
I know. That can happen. A lot of people experience like a change in taste, and some people saying the favourite foods suddenly taste really metallic or just off, which can be quite gutting if you've had a favourite for ages. Dreaming, there's lots of dreaming about food. People have reported vivid wild dreams about eating, usually junk food that they can't stomach anymore. An aversion to alcohol, which is not a bad thing. People who previously drank socially now find that the booze actually tastes awful or makes them feel gross. Like, it probably makes you feel gross anyway the day. What?
Should give everyone the injections.
This is a weird one. Some people have reported feeling full from smelling food.
I've heard that, and I've heard that firsthand.
It's like your body's saying no thanks before you've even lifted a fork up.
Which is quite scary because you still need the
Yeah.
nutrients, you still need the food. We really need to be thinking of food as fuel. It genuinely is the fuel that keeps you alive. You should not put in food groups. You need it all.
Yeah, we do. Another one is hair loss. That's not a super common one. But some people have noticed thinning hair after extended use, possibly linked to rapid weight loss, that not just the injection, but how
Well,
quickly.
also the fact that you're not eating enough nutrients to sustain your non-essential functions, because hair is not an essential thing on the body. So all your nutrients will go to where it's absolutely needed to keep you alive, as opposed to growing your luscious locks. But there you go.
Luscious locks. I feel like I didn't expect you to say something like that. Depressed mood or anxiety spikes. This apparently is not an official side effect, but it has shown up in a lot of the reports.
I wonder if that's linked to the emotional side of it, as in you can't eat some of the anymore. You don't feel like eating the things anymore, so you're not getting the same joy.
Yeah, but sometimes, like, we link lots of food. Like, people like to go out and dine and eat out and go to nice restaurants.
Or just have an ice cream.
Or just people like to do that. So if you're used to doing that, and kind of, if you've had a life where you're seeing food as treats, which is also another thing, then you probably could become quite depressed. Like, what do you do? I remember thinking that when I stopped drinking, what will I do with myself? Surely that must be a very similar thing. If you're not hungry anymore, like, what will I do instead, kind of thing.
Without us mentioning names though, Lisa, you won't, and I don't think we should mention names actually, because I think it's really cruel, full stop.
Well, again,
there are celebrities. This is stuff in the public domain, but I don't think we should add to the whole thing. We know, if we're going back to looking at people, there are celebrities on these injections who don't look great.
No, that is true. I've also got a list of celebrities that are on these, and this is not for your answer, like, who don't look great.
It's not related, it's just people who are,
But people that have come out, and there's a lot of them I don't even know, which just shows I need to, like, up my game on celebrities, because
I'm not interested. I don't care.
I'm a bit rubbish. But the first one actually really shocked me. But these are celebrities that have come out and openly about being on Ozempic or Monjaro or whatever. Oprah Winfrey. That shocked me. Like, I was really shocked by that. I don't know why. I just didn't expect it. She basically, she did an interview in December 23, and she did reveal that she takes a weight loss drug, but didn't specify which one. So, but yeah, I was quite surprised by that. Kelly Clarkson, Amy Schumer, which, did she play Fat Amy? Was she called Fat Amy in the?
I think so.
Yeah. And Whoopi Goldberg, Sharon Osbourne, and then I don't think I know any of the others, you know.
Oh, well, let's not talk about the others then.
But they're. I've got some more side effects. Let me get these out. Food sensitivity or gum issues, change in body odor. Some people said that they started smelling different, and nobody knows whether it was the Ozempic or weight loss related. Another one is weird poos. Are you ready for this? From neon green to just completely floating. People reported the full spectrum of toilet surprises. And the one that, like, got me the most is some reports of shrinking hands.
Right. It's got to be water loss, hasn't it, that? You would have thought.
Yeah.
Or maybe some tissue loss. I don't know, maybe some tissue loss. I think the thing is, right, in summary for me, Lisa, if I'm really honest, this is my personal feelings on it. I think, like every diet, done for the right reasons, done for true health reasons, because being overweight is dangerous for you or causing you health issues or causing you mental health issues, and you've tried other things, you've tried really good methods and found that you can't make it work, either because you can't stick to it or you don't know how to do it, or it's just not working for you, which I've got another opinion on that really, and it's probably unpopular, but I think everybody can lose weight if they lose fat, and I think everybody can lose fat if they eat properly. I do believe that. I do believe everybody can. I'm not saying it's easy, but I do believe everybody can. I think we're very used to instant gratification in this day and age, so sometimes some things are quicker for us than others, and I think the injections are a quick and easier way of doing it. But I think it's a tool, and I think if you can do it for the right reasons and change your behaviors that caused you to put on the weight in the first place, the unhealthy weight I'm talking about, and support your bone health, and support your mental health, and support your muscle health, and cope with minimal side effects, they aren't bad. But I think it's very difficult to get all of the other things right to support this healthily and safely. That's what I think. What about you?
I think that the diet industry is a multi-billion-pound industry, and I don't think they give a shit about you or me or anybody else, and I think they just care about making money. I think diets are designed not to be sustainable. I think how else would the diet industry profit? And I think it's the diet culture affects everybody. And I think we should all be so much more mindful about how we talk to each other and our children and everybody we know about, like with the comments. And I'm going to have to practice this myself because it's a natural thing for us all to do. Like, oh, you look great. You look. And we need to be complimenting each other on other aspects of who we are and not all about how we look. I just think I think it's bullshit. I think it's all bullshit.
I agree. Can I just comment on something that somebody I know and somebody you know as well, which I won't go into because it's not fair on this particular person to mention them by name. But can I just say that I got a message last night saying, guess what? I can hip thrust 80 kilograms. I want to hear compliments and celebrations on that, because that is somebody being and feeling really, really strong. So I want to hear more of that. So if you want to celebrate your feel-good wins with us, you can celebrate them. Send them to us. We'll to put our email up in a minute because I think it's time for our fuck it moment of the week. So this is our fuck it. Go on.
Yeah, and we keep telling people to email the fuck it moment. But well, they're not, because we've not actually put our podcast out there yet. So all three episodes are going out at the same time. So it's just so we get in the habit of saying it as well. But honestly, you'll be so sick of ours. Please email us at rewrittenpoduk@gmail.com with your fuck it moments.
And it's the bit where we say sod it or F it in the right way, being brave, honest, maybe a little bit chaotic. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It doesn't have to be anything major. But you know what, Lisa? I'm not sure I've had one this week. I've had a little mini one.
Go on.
So my mini one has been that I was in church on Sunday and I keep pressing the wrong pedal with my right foot in this one particular hymn. So I avoid it and I use my left foot lower down the octave because I can hit it correctly. But on Sunday, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to try. And I hit it correctly. So I was really pleased with myself.
Oh, see, that is a fuck it moment. And I think that's the point of what we're doing with this fuck it moment. It doesn't have to be anything like massive. The idea is that it just saves you from self-destructing. So it doesn't matter whether it is doing something like that, Alex, or just wearing the glitter top or something.
Have you got one?
Yeah, my fuck it moment was, it's so funny because I know we always talk about our week, and because I have the worst memory, before the podcast, I scanned through my photographs to see what I'd been up to this week, and I would have forgotten about this. But on Friday, so I was meant to be going to the caravan all weekend with Beth, my granddaughter Isabella, and Rob was coming over on the Saturday to meet us. Anyway, for whatever reason, Beth couldn't go on the Friday, so we decided to go on the Saturday morning. Rob was already going out on the Friday night, And I was sat there and I thought, I really want to go in the camper van. I was ready to kind of do something and I want to go on my own. So even though I perhaps look like I've done a bit of solo camper vanning, I've actually only ever been once on my own, which was ages ago, like years ago. And I go and like meet my mum somewhere or do something. Anyway, all day I was procrastinating about it. And I was like, right, just get your stuff, just do it. And then I'd put it off for some reason and think, oh, maybe I should just stay at home and then I'll be ready to go in the morning. And honestly, I thought about our podcast at the time and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I am just gonna go. So I got my stuff, threw it in the van, got George, my dog, not another fella. And I drove up to a campsite, which is about 30 minutes away from me. It's a really rustic campsite, but it's in the middle of nowhere. And that is what I wanted. And I spent the evening on the way up there, I did another fuck it moment because the farm shop was open. And I'd not really got anything for my tea, but I was a bit like, am I hungry? Do I want to make something on my own? Fuck it. Went in, got myself a fillet steak, salad, and cheesecake. So went up, parked up, got it all nice, had my steak and salad, and I did a little bit of artwork and stuff like that. So it was, I had a few like anxious moments because when I got there, I'm like, oh, where do I park? And then I saw somebody with a party hat on and I thought, oh shit, what's going on here tonight? I ended up having a really, really lovely night. And then the day after we went to Caravan and I spent time with Rob and Isabella and Beth, and it was really lovely. So it was a very positive fuck it moment this week for me.
Fabulous, fabulous. So there's so much more we could say, isn't there, really, on this subject today?
Yeah, this has been a long one, hasn't it? And it could go on forever and ever with all of it. But what we'll do, I suppose there's no doubt we'll come back to things like this.
I'd like people to email us what they think when they hear these as well. You know, like give us your thoughts and let us know your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings. We're quite happy to hear from you and talk about them in future episodes.
Definitely. So we was going to know what we were talking about next week, but now we have no clue. So you will have to just tune in and listen, and we'll catch you next week because these are coming out weekly, which is very exciting. So yeah, until then, please be kind to yourself. Make sure you question all the absolute bullshit that is being sold to you through social media and rewrite rules your way.
So if you've had a fuck it moment, don't forget to send that in. And you can follow us on Instagram at Rewritten Podcast. We'd love your support as well. And you can find us on Patreon, support us and buy us a coffee. And that's flashing across the screen. Patreon.com/Rewritten Podcast. So I guess on that note, we will see you all soon.
We will see you soon. See you later.
Bye.